Hey, thanks for clicking on the video and watching it. In this video, we're going to be talking about ways to change a GFCI plug. And of course, like anything that you do with your home, if you are in any way uncomfortable with that, please contact a licensed electrician, someone who is a professional that can help you with these things, because we would not want anyone to get hurt or injured. So always use precaution, be careful, make sure to follow the rules, and if it's outside of your expertise, seek help, ask for help. Let us know if we can help you in any way. We hope you have a great day. Thanks. Hey, this is Darren, and I'm working around the house today doing some different items. And one of the things that I'm working on today are some GFCI plugs around the house. Now, one of the things that happens regularly when we go to sell a house, buy a house for a client, turns up on inspections are that the GFCI plugs that are either inside or outdoors, that they're faulty. And this is just a regular thing that happens because those plugs, they break, they get old, and they get to the point where they don't work anymore. The idea behind the GFCI is it's a ground fault circuit interrupter, and what that does is it's more protection in wet areas. So if you have a plug that is outside, you want it to be on a GFCI circuit, GFCI protected circuit. Now, many houses just have every plug on the outside as GFCI because maybe they're on different circuits, maybe because when they originally wired it, it didn't need to have a plug on each one, because theoretically if the GFCI is at the front of the circuit, then it'll protect all the rest of them. But sometimes what happens is when the plugs get replaced, every single plug, they turn into a GFCI. And so you don't have to do that, but it's something that people do just to make sure everything is protected. So what I am doing today is that I'm going around and I'm checking. We've got a larger project of doing some landscape lighting, and part of that project is make sure all of our plugs are operational outdoors. And what we're running into is that some of the plugs are not. The GFCIs have gone bad, or the plug covers are missing or have broken off. And so that is what we're going to be doing here in just a minute, and I'm going to show you a little information on how to test these and see if they're actually working. So hold tight. Okay, this is pretty much a standard GFCI plug here, and what happened on this one is that this plug cover was on here, and as we were stacking this wood, guess what happened? This just got knocked off right here. And so I was going by and I was going to check this, and actually this GFCI is operational. And the way that you can tell that is these are really handy to have around the house. And what this will show you is to make sure all of the plugs are working right, and it will diagnose any problems that you might have with the plug. And so when I plug it in, I'll show you, excuse me, I gotta get my dog out of the way. Okay. As I can show you right here, if I plug this in to this plug, you'll see that those two yellow plugs light up, and you read the legend right there, and that means correct wiring. Now this button is to test a ground fault circuit interrupter. And so if I press this button, you hear that pop. That has tested the switch. You can see the light right there saying that it did a test on it, and you can just do this and that will reset it. And then when I plug it back in, you can see both lights are back on again. So that's how you test these. So this one is actually working properly, and so we're not going to need to replace this plug on this go round. But let me show you one that is not working properly. I moved around to another outlet on the house, and this one you can see is it's got the same type of opening here, but what I will show you is that if I plug this in, you can see that it's wired correctly, just like the other one was, but if I press this button, nothing happens. See? like it doesn't pop out, and that just means that the plug has gone bad. All right, so that means that the plug is still functional if you want to plug something into it, but it doesn't have that protection on it. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this plug cover off. I'm going to remove that plug out of there. I'm going to put a new plug in, and I bought a new plug cover to go on this one. So that's what we're going to do right now. First step in doing this is going to be putting this in here, and this is a great help also to see to make sure you've got power cut off to these outlets. So I have got this tester in here, and what I can do now is I can go in and I can flip the breaker that's in our garage and make sure that these are not lit anymore, and that means that no power is coming to this, and I can have full access to this and not worry about getting shocked. Another thing I wanted to show you was when you're checking on the circuit breaker for which one works on that plug, there's a couple of different ways to do it. You can put the tester in and you have the lights there, and then go into the circuit panel and you can flip each one. It might be labeled, and so it might be easy to see which one goes to which one. It might not, and so you might be running back and forth. It's great if you have another person in there that can yell, when you get that breaker flip. This is another interesting tool that I picked up, and it's a circuit breaker finder with analog receiver. What this does is that it actually has a plug that, I forgot I had this, but it has a plug that you put in there. Oh, I'm sorry, that thing just flipped all the way over. So let me check that again. Okay, let's see if I can get this back. Okay, let's try that. Okay, so it has a plug that goes there, and you can see the light on it, so you can identify there is power to it. And then you go to the breaker, and this is kind of cool. You go to the breaker, and somehow, through the magic of electricity or something, you can go through and you can check, and you basically run this along to see which one beeps. And so you see that, and so that one beeped there, and so I would check that one. Now here's the thing that I ran into, is that this isn't like 100%, and so don't bet your life on this thing, but it does help narrow it down. So when I ran it over all of these, I got a couple of beeps. Now it seems like, yeah, like it's only picking out one at this point. So yeah, just that one. So what I'll do is flip that one, okay? I always check and see what the label is on it, see if it makes sense. This says underfloor plugs is what that says, which I'm guessing are plugs that are underneath in the crawl space, which would make sense for where this one's located. So I flip that one, all right? And now we go, and the great thing about this is it is really close to the panel to be able to, the breaker box. So now I'll go back to this, and you can see that this light is no longer lit up. So what I'll do is I'll just double check, is I'll put my other tester in there, and you can see that on this one, none of these lights are lit up, and so we can be pretty sure that this one actually does not have power going to it, and it's ready to open up. First step on this is we are going to take off the outside plug cover. And also, what you find on some of these is that there is a bead of caulk around the outside of the faceplate, just to keep it water sealed, and it's a great idea to have that. And basically just cutting that to make it easier to pull this off. And there is another screw on this. Yep, there it is. All right, this is a gasket that we'll get a new one of these gaskets with the new one that we purchased at the local store, and we'll get this going. Went and grabbed this, make things a lot faster. And I want to take this open so we can just kind of take a look at it and see what the wiring looks like on this. So you'll see that, oh, there's a lizard. Huh. So, yeah, baby lizard got caught in there. All right. All right, so what you'll find usually in these is that there is some corrosion like this. And, you know, it's not strange that that would happen. So what you're going to do is pull this out so you can get access to the wiring here. I'm always real careful with electricity. I've got this little pin circuit tester, and this lights up if there's actually power to it. I always run that over just to make sure there's nothing there. Touch it quickly, make sure, and then from here, it's just a matter of taking this off. This one screws out there, and that releases it to pull out on that side. This one, the common, is on that side, and the ground on this side. Just like that. So just like that, the old one is out, and just cleaning out this box a little bit to neaten things up. All right, so what I'm going back with is actually picked out one of these. It's this one. This is from Lowe's, and it is a standard 15 amp GFCI. And this time what I did was that I actually bought a gray one. I hadn't ever put in a gray one before, but this will match what the plug cover that I have going on top. I'm replacing the plug cover just because this one looks old. I mean, it looks like it's still functioning, but I thought I might just put a nicer new one on there, and this will go on top. And so I got this plug to go in there just to match and look nice. First step on this is going to be to go ahead and get the ground connected. I usually like to go ahead and get that one done. And on this one, I'm really just going to take this ground and tighten this loop up a little bit. And I'm going to imagine how I'm going to put this in here, and I see the ground on the bottom right side. And then it's going to be a matter of putting this on here. It's always important to know which way you're wrapping the wire onto the screw, because you want it to wrap in the same direction that it tightens. Otherwise, when you tighten it, you'll actually be loosening it. And I'll go to here. Tightening up that ground, making sure that's secure. On the back of these GFCIs, you've got a line and a load. The line is what's coming in straight in. This is if you have several in a series, like I was talking about before, but this one does not have one coming out in a series, and so this is just going to be one in the line. And you see the line there. It says hot on this side and then white on the other side with the common on that side. Also, just FYI, there is a wire stripping guide on the side that you use that, and it'll show you how far to strip the wire back, and you can set that against there. It's just a little section right there. Might be hard to see on the video, but just test that and make sure that's done. And then once you get that done, you're really just putting it in, screw it down tight. Go to the other side, to the common, or white. Put that one in. Screw it down tight. And you're ready to go. On this part, you are just pushing this back into the box and try to organize the wires as best you can to get it to fit back and to screw back in as neatly as possible. And on this, and there you go. And at this point, I like to always test it to make sure that everything's working correctly before I start buttoning up stuff on the outside. And so I'll plug this in here, and then we'll go in and flip it to breaker. This breaker right here, flip it. It's always a good sign when you flip that breaker and you don't hear it pop back. All right, so back over here and let's see if we've got power. A lot of times on these GFCIs, when you first flip them on, they will be tripped. They'll be in the reset mode, and you can see right here there's no power getting shown right there. I do see a light there. You can, wait, let me get that. Where is it? Oh, there it is. Okay, so you do see a light there. So I'll hit this reset. I heard it click. Plug this back in, and you can see the lights are there. No red one, which is great, means it's wired correctly. And so we're set on this one, and then it's on to putting the cover on. Now we've got the cover that we're gonna place on here. You can see this new style. It's like this, and it kind of folds up like that, keep it sealed. And you've got the new gasket right here. There's a bunch of different ways you can use these in standard, you know, duplex model or whatever, but this one I just pulled out, punched out that square, and that is gonna fit over that plug like that. And keep that gasket nice and tight. No water gets in there. And this will go right over the top, just like that. All right. Try with a screwdriver just to snug it up a little bit, not to overdo it, but that way it's just easier to tell them the tension and how tight it is. And there we go. That's all done. I'm gonna go grab some silicone caulk and clean up around the edge of this, and then we'll be done with the first one.